Hi everybody, I want to share a circumstance I ran into here at the house. I'm not going to spend too much time on introduction. First and foremost, I'm not an electrician. I'm just sharing this for learning purposes. So I'm not going to go into a lot of professional terminology, stuff like that. So basically what I want to share is get right to it. I'm in an older house. The wiring is cloth, so you can't tell here. I thought this would be a good time to share this video. This video is mainly going to be for the continuity check, so I can tell what's what. This is going to be a three-way switch. It's at the bottom of the stairwell. There's one at the top, replacing the switches. And so I'll probably try to insert a picture of what it looked like before. If you're in an older house and you run into this, you're going to know exactly what I'm talking about. So the cloth on it was decayed, I guess you could call it. Bare wire showing all over. That's why it's taped up. I had these connected to the switches. It's been working. I just didn't have time to get to the video. So before I close them up, I want to check for continuity, and I'm going to show how I did that in a quick and easy way. So if you want a video on how to wire up a three-way switch, this probably isn't the right one for you. So like I said, I'm not certified, not a professional, have maintenance experience on my previous job and done a lot of house stuff. So basically that. Anybody wants to leave comments or share their knowledge, feel free, and people can read that. So I'll get right to it, what I've got going on. So they're basically already wrapped with the electrical tape. I did that so the boxes are metal, so that bare wire wasn't touching. And so I had previously checked, and I know that this is the line wire coming in. The circuit breaker's off. Always make sure you have that off. So I've got this right here, voltage meter. No power coming in, so it's good to work on it. Okay, so this right here is the line power coming in. And these two, I guess, are what people would call the common traveler wires. There is no ground. If it is, it's taped off, or there wasn't one before, and I'm not going to add one. So they say some of these switches come with the ground. Like I said, I'm not going to get into all that stuff. This is basically just a continuity check from downstairs to upstairs, a quick and easy way to do that. So, all right. So we got the line power coming in, and these would be the common traveler wires going upstairs. So as I said before, they were covered in cloth. They all looked identical. And so basically what I'm going to do next is I've got all these different types of tape. There's the old switch right there that came out. So I've got these different colors. So I'm just going to label them, that way I know which wire is which. From what I've seen, the traveler wires really do not matter where they line up on the other switch. So this is the one I'll be putting in. I'll head upstairs and take a quick look at what I'm talking about up here. All right. So this is upstairs. And it's kind of confusing because, you know, like I said, you're going to have to study how to install three-ways. I have a pretty good idea what's going on, but I'm not going to cover that. So I think you can see that's how they all looked before I taped them. So you can imagine trying to figure out what's what. Wasn't sure. And actually right now I'm still not sure. That's why I want to do this video. I know this one is going to the light because it's going upward. And that will go to the line spot on the terminal on the three-way switch. So I did it blue because, quick backstory, so I learned car stereos first, and with power on that, it's always been red. Black was ground. And a lot of this house electricals, I've had to change my mind frame. So a lot of them, black would be the power and line coming in. So, so technically, if you really wanted to go to the line, that's where it all gets confusing. With you'd have to study the three-ways. So this really would be going into the line, which would power the three-way, I guess you would say, when you hit the switch on and off. But so really you would want that black, I guess you would. Although it's not the power coming in, the power traveling up from downstairs is through these wires. So hopefully I'm not confusing you too much. The point, like I said, is just checking continuity. I want to know if this wire downstairs, which one is a match? It's continuity. So I'll hook up to both of these two, and I want to match up where they're coming out downstairs. Just for my peace of mind, I know, and I'm going to mark them with the color, and I know that they match. So any of the modern stuff, everything's color coded, and you wouldn't even run into this. So I'm going to go down there and get that set up real quick. Okay, so what I've done here is I've hooked up a, pretty sure they call it a 12-2. I had some spare wire around the house. So if you, really all you need is a single. I used the one without the insulation, a straight copper right there. Would be a ground wire normally. So if you had just a single wire, that would be fine too. I think they call this the 12-2. So I knew that this one is the power coming in, line wire. These two running upstairs. And so I plugged just the bare copper here so I could remember upstairs which one I did. It's the only reason I chose it. And ideal push-in wire connector, I think is what they call that. You could twist them together, do what you got to do. That was quick and easy. I just snapped them in here, and this is a long piece of wire. I'll show you in a second. It runs upstairs, so head up here in a minute and get set up, show you what I'm about to do. On second thought, in case there is anybody that's, you know, completely new to something like this, I'll just go ahead and show the walk upstairs following this wire. So comes up, and like I said, it's long enough to go upstairs and meet the outlet. Like I said, I'm no professional, so slipping up a lot on the vocabulary. I call it outlet, and it's a switch, so I apologize about that. So this is where that's going to come up, and I'll be able to show you here in a second, demonstrate what I'm going to do. All right, I've got my multimeter here, clamp meter also, could call it. And I apologize, I'm recording this by myself, so I don't have the best angles and footage. Well, I set it here. See if I can zoom in. Yeah, hopefully you can see. It looks like almost like a loudspeaker. The setting it's on, so that's the continuity. And that's what I need it on. So, like even right here, it knows that they're touching. The line basically, I guess, would be closed. OL, open line right there. So it knows they're touching. That's the concept of what's about to happen up here. So what I'll do, take the alligator clamp and I'll clamp it to that copper one right there, the bear that I hooked to downstairs. And then I'm going to take this one and I'm going to start touching the wires to see which one sets it off. So most likely not that one, so it's that one. Nothing there. That would be the continuity. So I know this wire here is the one I'm clamped to downstairs. So that's checking the continuity. Like I said, cloth wire in case you need to figure something like that out. Hopefully that helps. So what I'll do with my colors is I will, I think I'll do black coming in downstairs, and that will be black on the switch downstairs, power coming in, line. And so this runs to the light above the camera right now. I'm gonna keep that blue, and then I think I'll change these to white and red. So the one that I'm hooked to downstairs right now, I'm gonna take some red tape, tape it off on here, tape it downstairs. I'll leave the other one white, and then I'll plug into my switches. So hopefully that helps you guys. I'll do a quick shot once I get them taped up and stuff, but other than that, that's about it. Okay, so here's a quick look at what I've got going on since everything's taped up. I went ahead and put a little piece of red on there. And then come upstairs. So there's the red. So I know that's the same wire coming up. Quick note, I did find out a few weeks ago, I was looking at this stuff, and so basically with those traveler wires on this switch, it doesn't matter which way they go. So it really didn't matter that I marked and that it was the same as long as the travelers went into the right spot. For this one upstairs, the wire to the sorry, I'm looking at my camera. It's jumping around like crazy. Haven't done a video in a while. It's not my hand. It was doing that with the tripod too. I had to have it sitting just right. That's why I wasn't moving angles and stuff with the tripod. But anyway, so I apologize about that. So this one here goes to the light, being upstairs. And these two will be the travelers. So these two really wouldn't matter if they were switched up. Again, you really need to do your research on something like that so you would know what I'm talking about. I could do a quick walkthrough on how I have it wired up at this point, and if you want to hang around long enough to see that. So I'll start downstairs where the power comes in. Okay. So if the power was on, breaker turned on, everything was powered up, ready to go. This would be the power in right here. And these would be your two travelers on the common heading upstairs. So with this switch, that black bolt right there, screw, that would, I'll screw in right here. That's what's going to screw into this black. And then you got the two others. And that's what these two will screw into. There is no ground. Okay, so black line coming in, that goes into the black screw on the three-way switch. These are the two travelers, common wire that's heading upstairs. We'll head back up there and go over that switch real quick. This light wasn't wired up right for years. I didn't know why. They had it rigged up wrong, so you would have to switch the light on downstairs and it wouldn't sync up with upstairs. You had to always have them turned a certain way or it wouldn't work right. So, all right, so up here, these are the traveler wires coming in. This one, tell it's heading upward, it's heading up to the light. So on this switch upstairs, this black bolt, black screw is going to go to the blue, the one that's heading to the light. And then these two travelers are going to go here and here. I may try to match up position now that I know which is which, but from what I heard, these two travelers, they could screw into either screw. It doesn't matter. So there you go. Sorry about the, haven't done a video in quite a long time, so camera's jacked up. This isn't really a strong suit for me. I'm doing it because I've studied it and learned it, but it's not, doesn't come natural just to bust out the vocabulary. So hopefully any of this helped for somebody. This was mainly a continuity on cloth wiring with no color installation. So now that I have everything taped and wired back up, I thought I'd share a quick glimpse at how this is going to look. So you've got the black, that's the line coming in into the black bolt. I've got this red up here and the silver, and also the white and the other silver. As I said, there's no ground wire ran. I've studied some stuff. I heard them say that some of these are self-grounding switches, so take that for what you want. I did come across that information. I'm just sharing it, so we'll head upstairs real quick and show what we've got going on up here. And then for the upstairs, it's hard to see. That's the black bolt on the bottom. The blue is the wire going to the actual light above the hallway. So that's what's going in there. And then this match, same position with the red into the silver bolt, and then the white into the silver over here. So I'm extremely sorry about the very poor video quality. Might be time for a new phone. So this iPhone, 4 or 5 years old, taking pretty good care of it, but obviously now it's got problems. Last time I used it, there wasn't all this glitching and stuff like that. So I'm going to tape it all up and show you just another safety precaution. I'm this far into it, I might as well capture that real quick too, because if you're like I was looking at this stuff, anything helps. So I'll show that real quick and then we'll be done with this. Okay, from there I took my electrical tape and I did about 2 passes around the perimeter of this switch, covering the terminals, help prevent arc flashing. As I said, it's an older home, metal electrical boxes, so anything to prevent the arc flash. In an ideal scenario, I would rip it all out. I'd rip the wiring out, I'd rip the boxes out, I'd put it all fresh. But these are plaster walls. And the way that it's ran up through there, that's just not something I'm going to be tackling anytime soon. So just a precautionary measure. Give it about 2 wraps. Anything more than that, sometimes I have them get too snug to where I can't hardly get them in the box. So that's it.